we're gonna get started in child's pose, and we got a couple minutes. I think we're gonna let a few more people trickle in here, but child's pose is gonna be the way we begin. And all right, so I am thinking of something a little less like like move, sweat, move, sweat, move, sweat, and a little more like forward foldy and like, yeah, like kind of more like yin and cooling energy, but in a movement-based class. So we're just gonna see how this goes. This is an experiment. We're gonna give it a try here. It might border on like a slow flow-ish a little bit more so, hey Madeline, than like a hardcore powerful class. So we are gonna take that child's pose to begin with. And you might want to support yourself in your child's pose. It might be nice to even like grab like a pillow to hug around, or a bolster if you've got it, or a blanket. And just notice your knees, like underneath your knees, how does it feel? Do they feel like they need a little bit more padding? If that's the case, then definitely, you know, grab a little something, a blanket for under those knees. Good. Hi. And starting in child's pose, just allow your head to really connect with the floor. Oh, I totally didn't mention it. Hit play on your playlist. Yeah. Yeah, now is the time. Now is the time for the music. Sorry. We'll kind of redo here. And just know that you don't ever have to use the playlist, but it might be nice. Yeah. So oddly enough, at the solstice, I found myself thinking about darkness, and not from like a dark-minded perspective where I was seeing things negatively, but just about how there is, you know, there really isn't any brilliance of the light without the juxtaposition of the darkness, right? That you really need a light source to create shadows, and then in those shadows can live things that are kind of the key, right? Kind of the clue to our own well-being, to our own healing. And so this playlist is all about the shadows and the darkness. And so as you find your child's pose and get yourself settled in, just take a couple of breaths that feel appropriate to you. And it might be like you're taking a very deep breath, or maybe you just want to take kind of easygoing breaths in and out of the nose and bring your attention to those breaths. The most important part of it is that you are aware that you're breathing. You're mindful, you're listening to it. Taking your time, breathing deeply, and just letting yourself be here, moving away from all of the busyness, perhaps, of your day or your weekend, all of the action, right? All of this yang energy, this bright energy. And curled up here in your child's pose, noticing what it's like to be in this kind of yin style pose, where we are focusing more on turning inward a little bit. And we're focusing a little bit more on that internal darkness. Right, and so this poem by David Whyte, so beautiful. Just wanted to read it to you before we get going. He wrote, "When your eyes are tired, the world is tired also. When your vision has gone, no part of the world can find you. It's time to go into the dark, where the night has eyes to recognize its own. There you can be sure you are not beyond love. The dark will be your home tonight. The night will give you a horizon further than you can see. You must learn one thing. The world was made to be free in. Give up all the other worlds except the one to which you belong. Sometimes it takes darkness and the sweet confinement of your aloneness to learn anything or anyone that does not bring you alive is too small for you. So just focusing on the darkness behind your closed eyelids here, just for a bit. Wonderful. And feel your belly moving, your lower ribs, your low belly, and the sides of your waist. Your breath moving your lower back. And even feeling maybe a little bit of that movement down into your pelvis here too. And if you want to rock your head from side to massage your brow a bit. If you spent some part of the day crunching up your forehead. Yeah, that little rocking motion can change things a bit. Good. Great, and then from here, if your arms are kind of tucked underneath you or wrapped around you, walk them out nice and long so that your fingertips and your hip creases are kind of pulling in opposite directions. And then we'll walk the hands over to the right. And as you walk your hands over to the right, think about gently drawing that left hip crease back in space and maybe even just like down a little bit towards the heel, exploring how the left side of your body feels this evening. Good, soften your jaw, loosen your tongue. Good, deep breath in. Big breath out. And then make your way through to the center. And as you get there, I think it might be nice to just come up onto hands and knees for a moment. All the time in child's pose can make my knees feel a little stressed out. So for a breath or two, just stretch one of your legs long behind you, tuck the toes underneath, press the heel back. And then same thing on the other side. Tuck the toes, press the heel back. Yeah, lift that knee, stretch through the back of the calf, the Achilles. Good, and then we'll settle ourselves back down into your child's pose. And walk the head on over to your hands and your head on over to the other side now. I guess your head goes along with everything else, yeah. And as you walk your hands over to the other side, to the left, just notice the right side of your rib cage. Feel your right hip crease drawing back in space. Good, and a few deep breaths just to move the right ribs here. Great, yeah. And then come on back through to the center and pick up your head and look in between your hands and then just slide yourself through onto your belly. And as you find your belly, just gently lift the chest away from the floor with your fingertips kind of touching the floor here. Little baby cobra pose. You might even pick up your hands, lift them up and feel your shoulder blades draw in towards the spine. Muscles of the mid-back really working here. Great, and then set the chest back down on the floor. Set your forehead down, really make that contact, and shift it on back into child's pose again. And then we're just gonna flow through here between your child's pose and through into your low cobra or maybe slightly bigger cobra, if that makes sense to you. Kind of like channeling snake-like energy, this like slithery, fluid movement. Right, and allow your spine to kind of lead that movement here. Yeah, maybe you're coming all the way down, bringing your chest close to the floor. Maybe your chest stays up kind of high as you move. And check in with your shoulders as you're moving through this too. Okay, some days our shoulders are just like grumpy. Some days it feels like just the thing. Yeah, taking notice. Good. And then eventually we're gonna slide ourselves back out onto our bellies. And pull the right knee up towards the right side of the chest. Your left leg's gonna be nice and long behind you. As you pull the right knee up towards the right side of your chest, you might keep that knee bent the whole time. Or you could consider extending your right leg out long and to the side so that your legs might be like at 90 degrees. Good. Taking notice of the hips. Good. And then deepen the breath so that, again, the pelvis, the hips are receiving a little bit of that movement. Yeah, just working to spread the breath through the whole body here. Good. All right, and then from here, let's slide that right leg back behind. We're gonna take the elbows underneath the shoulders, and then we're gonna tuck the toes underneath and lift ourselves up into a forearm plank. Oh man, so picking up those hips. Yeah, feel the inner thighs engage, the heels press back. Nice, just take notice of the shoulders, reach the crown of the head forward, nice strong front of the body. Good, and then let's set those hips back down and take a good old Sphinx pose, keeping those elbows under the shoulders. We're gonna roll the head around a couple of times in a big circle. Good, so be honest with yourself. Has today been like a really young day for you? Have you felt a lot of like fiery energy? Or has today been kind of yin for you? Relaxed, cool, easy. If you've got a lot of that fiery energy, it might be nice to take a deep breath in through the nose, like everything's fine, and then breathe out with some ferocity, some fierceness, sticking out your tongue, making a scary sound. Good. Great, and then eventually let's slide those elbows out wide. Set the chest down on the floor, and we're gonna pull the left knee up towards the left side of the chest. Let's come into our half frog pose here, which is, maybe your knee is bent the whole time, or perhaps you want to extend that left leg out long into the side. And just know that your sides are going to be different. Maybe you did it on one side and not the other. Maybe both, maybe not at all. Good. You allow your breathing to be center stage in your mind. Good. Another deep breath or two here. Good. Great. Go ahead and slide that left leg nice and long behind you. Let's take the elbows under the shoulders, and yeah, let's pick back up into that forearm plank. And this is just going to be kind of like a brief situation here in your forearm plank. It might be interesting to drop both of your heels over to one side and either stack or stagger the feet, and then drop the heels over to the other side. You might tick-tock back and forth a couple of times just to help warm the sides of the body a little bit. Good. Yeah, but eventually you'll set yourself back down on your belly, just lower all the way down. Good, and then hands come under the shoulders. We'll press it back into child's pose and relieve some of that compression that we might have felt in the lower spine there. Sphinx pose is really all about creating that little bit of compression. Good. Couple deep breaths. Great, and from your child's pose, bring yourself on up to hands and knees. On hands and knees, let's focus on the wrists for a second here. So you might turn your hands around so that your palms are down and your fingers point back towards the knees. Maybe if that's a little too intense, you could just take the hands out to the side. Good. It could be one hand at a time. It could be two hands at a time. And then just allow your body to find some like intuitive wiggles here. There's really no wrong way to wiggle around on hands and knees. Sometimes that involves rounding the spine and then dropping the belly. Sometimes not. Good. Another breath or two. Good. And then let's send ourselves back into child's pose, just briefly with the knees closed. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the back and take a rabbit pose, rolling up under the crown of the head. And you might press your knuckles up towards the ceiling here. Good. Great. Release on out of this extended child's pose, arms nice and long in front. As you inhale, slide the heart in between the hands, lift it up, cobra pose. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Good. A moment here just to pedal things out. First down dog of the practice. Sometimes it's nice to pick up one foot, pick up the other foot. Good. As you inhale, raise that right leg up and back behind you. And then let's bring that right foot up to the top of the mat in your favorite way. We're going to drop the left knee down. And let's sweep those arms up here. Anjaneyasana, low lunge, low crescent. Holding this for just a moment. Good. As you breathe out, take the hands down to the top of the mat. Tuck the left toes underneath. Step the left foot forward. Standing forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep those arms up and overhead. Little baby back bend. Exhale, dive forward. Good. Inhale and step that right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Drop the right knee down. Let's breathe in, raise those arms up. Holding here for a moment. And as you exhale, the hands come back down. Frame that left foot. Tuck the right toes. Step back, downward dog. Good. Drop down to your knees. And find your child's pose. Knees pretty close. 3 deep breaths. Good. And then from your child's pose, stand up on the knees, reach the arms up and overhead, and then circle the arms around. The hands come down to the lower back. Let's take a little baby camel pose here. Collarbones broad. Might drop the head back in space. Good, and then we'll shift it on back, extended child's pose. Good, inhale, heart comes through the hands. Take your low cobra. Good, exhale back, downward facing dog. Good, a breath here to tip those sitting bones up, let the head drop down. And then inhale and sweep that left leg up and back behind you. As you breathe out, step the left foot forward. Drop that right knee down to the floor. And then sweep your arms up and overhead. And you might let the arms be loose, maybe the elbows drop down, or you could clasp elbows if you want to. Good. Yeah, big breath here. As you exhale, take the hands down to frame that left foot. Tuck the right toes underneath and step that right foot forward. Standing forward fold. Good. Inhale, come all the way up. Reach nice and high. Take a look up here. Maybe that little mini back bend if you like it. Exhale, come all the way back down. Slow motion. Good. Yeah, now let's step that left foot all the way to the back of the mat. Drop the left knee down. Low lunge. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Anjaneyasana. Again, maybe, playing with an arm variation. Okay, so whatever makes you feel good in the shoulders. Yeah, it could be the cactus, could be hands at the heart. Anything will do. One more big inhale. As you exhale, drop the hands down to frame the foot. Let's tuck the back toes underneath, stepping on back, downward facing dog. Good. From your down dog, drop to the knees. Take your child's pose. Good. And a moment here and a couple of options. You can hang in your child's pose. If you want to roll up into rabbit pose, where you come up under the crown of your head, interlace the hands behind the back again. That's a thought. It's a nice way to kind of stretch through those shoulders and give yourself a gentle inversion. Nice, yeah. Good. Another breath here. Then eventually we're gonna come on out of the rabbit. If you're in it, back into your extended child's pose. And then we'll stand up on those knees again. Reach the arms up and overhead, and it's like this big circle with both of your arms, and your hands come down to your lower back, broadening those collarbones, little camel pose. Great. Great, and then shifting yourself back out into extended child's. Good. Slide the heart through in between the hands. This could be your low cobra, your big cobra, or maybe an upward dog if you're feeling it, pressing the tops of your feet into the floor. And then shift it on back into downward facing dog from here. Good. As you inhale, raise that right leg up and back behind you. And we're going to open through the hip for a moment here. So pointing that right knee nice and high. Feel the center of your left heel sinking down towards the floor, and that right shoulder in line with the left. Great. Step the right foot in between your hands at the top of the mat. And we're going to take a high lunge next. So keep that left knee up if that works in your body. And your arms, again, arms any style. So hands can come to the hips, to the heart, to your cactus or overhead. Yeah, whatever feels best. Okay, feel that tension between your right big toe pressing down and forward and the left heel pressing back. And finding your ground. And from here, take both hands down to frame that right foot. Step the left foot forward, standing forward, fold. Good. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Press the knuckles up towards the ceiling. And if it's all right with your neck, turn your head side to side really gently. Good. And then soften everything, the knees, release the hands, and slowly roll yourself all the way up to standing. Those arms kind of unfurl last, reaching up. Good. Exhale, dive yourself forward over two long legs again. Good. We're going to step that right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Left foot's going to be forward for your high lunge here. Yeah, so just looking for, a little bit of steadiness in the feet, some space width-wise between the feet, two separate tracks. Yeah, and arms do what they're going to do here. What makes you feel really like strong and capable today? Every day this is different. Good. Yeah, feel the center of the belly kind of lift here. Beautiful. And then let's set those hands down at the top of the mat. Step it on back into your three-legged dog with that left leg high. Open through the hip here. Point that knee up towards the ceiling. Good. And think about the right shoulder in line with the left here, picking up a little bit. Center of the right heel drops down. Good, and then just gently set that left foot back down on the floor. Bring the knees down. Take your child's pose. Yeah, your choice to stay here in your extended child's pose. You might also decide to interlace the fingers behind the back, roll up onto the crown of the head for your camel. If you like to stand on your head, if that's something that's in your practice, you really love doing it, you're welcome to headstand. And we'll take about 5 breaths or so. Nice, everybody. Good. One more deep breath. And from wherever you are, you're just gonna kind of find a fluid way into your camel pose. So yeah, dropping those hips back if you're in your rabbit, and then standing up on the knees, reaching those arms high at first, and then circling them around. Yeah, range of motion in the shoulders. We'll look for the lower back, or maybe you're ready to grab for your heels. Blocks behind you can be lovely too. Yeah, right on. That's a great way to adapt. Nice. Good. One more big breath in. And then we're going to slowly exhale out and back out into your extended child's pose, where you'll slither through into your cobra, your upward facing dog. Another little back bend here. On your way back into downward facing dog again. Nice. Great. And then from your downward facing dog, let's raise the left leg up and back behind and open up through the hip here, pointing that knee nice and high. And a few thoughts, right? If you like to flip the dog around, you're welcome to take that left foot down to the ground behind you. You might also take some circles with that left knee to explore range of motion in the hip. Or you could come through to plank, pulling the knee in towards the nose a couple times to kind of strengthen the belly a little bit. Yeah, strengthen the upper body. Nice. So just kind of choosing your own adventure for a few deep breaths here. Awesome, everybody. And eventually, we're going to step that left foot in between the hands at the top of the mat and take another high lunge. Good. And in this high lunge, really making sure that your footing feels pretty steady as can be. Because we're gonna do something twisty here. I'm thinking of the right hand forward and the left hand back for a tall twist. Okay, but you might also take the right hand to the ground and raise that left hand up towards the ceiling if that helps you to feel steadier in your body. Yeah, it creates a more effective pose for you on this day. Really nice. Great. 2 more breaths in your twist. Right on. All right, we'll come through to the center and place both hands on the floor, and we're going to take a standing leg lift. So raising that right leg up here as you straighten kind of through the left leg. And take your hands onto things in front of you. Maybe there's a block or two there, or a stack of blankets, or whatever you have around. You think about turning or flexing through that right foot, pointing the right toes down towards the floor, and then lifting the knee, lifting through the center of the thigh. It doesn't matter how high up that leg goes. Good. We'll set that right foot down at the top of the mat. If you feel okay interlacing your fingers around your big toes and drawing your elbows wide, let's take a moment there in that standing forward fold. Yeah. Okay, things are getting more complicated. Can you breathe anyway? Take a deep breath or two. Oh boy, let's take a chair pose. So from here, let's come all the way up. Reach those arms high and then find a nice bend in the knees so that your body is almost in this like lightning bolt type of shape, right? Our angles are going to be different. Every body is different. Okay, but feeling like you're using your lower body. You're getting nice and strong. Nice, low ribs lift away from the top of the pelvis. And then stand up nice and tall. Reach those arms up and overhead. Big stretch, and then an exhale to fold forward, interlacing your fingers at your lower back, knuckles towards the ceiling or sky if you're out of doors. Good. Good. Go ahead and release those hands down. Great. We're going to step that left foot all the way to the back of the mat. And then we're going to lift ourselves back up into the high lunge here. And as you find that high lunge, yeah, just noticing the steadiness through your feet. So looking for this equal standing kind of situation. Great. As much pressure back into that left heel as you have down into your right foot. And then your twist. Twisting any style, right? What do you like to do here? Is it that tall twist? You want to put the hand down? In your body on this day, what is the best for you? Yeah, good. Good. let's come on back up, reaching that right arm nice and high. And we're gonna take a standing leg lift over here as well. So both hands are gonna come back down. Let's lift that left leg up. Okay, taking a moment. Great, thinking about the distance between your chest and your right thigh. The weight of your head. Great, a big inhale. And exhale, sets that left foot down at the top of the mat. All right, now let's breathe in and lift up halfway. We're gonna do it. Exhale, plant the palms down and take it back into your high plank pose. Ooh, a high plank. And here you might wanna rock your heels to one side and then to the other side, sort of like we did in that forearm plank earlier. If that's okay with your wrists and your shoulders. Okay, you might return to your forearms if that's better for you, but just again, warming the sides of the body, feeling the sides of your hips supporting you, the sides of your waist as you rock side to side. Good, and then eventually we're gonna shift it back into a downward facing dog, raising that, I think, right leg up and back behind you. Man, if I remember all parts of this flow, it'll be a miracle. Let's open through the hip. And then yes, your choice. So maybe you're flipping your dog around, your right foot to the floor. Maybe you're taking some big circles with that right knee, writing like a circle on the ceiling. Or bringing your right knee in towards your nose in your high plank pose, finding maybe a little bit of warmth. Good. Good, and eventually we're gonna come back into that three-legged dog and then just set that right foot back down, drop the knees. Child's pose, sweet child's pose. Good. Do with your arms what your shoulders are asking for. So maybe you're snuggling them up underneath you or wrapping them around you. Another nice thing you could do for yourself is to take your knees kind of wide here in your child's pose and then reach one of your hands back for the opposite heel and then cross your forearms. The other hand reaches back too for the opposite heel. Head turns to the side. And a little bit of time just to like curl up in a ball. And the importance of curling up into a ball cannot be stated enough, I think. I long believe that if we all spent like 10 minutes a day doing this, the world would be a little bit of a better place. And then from here, you're just gonna take those arms out nice and long in front. And let's make our way back into downward facing dog again. So yeah, just getting there, getting to your down dog. And play around with it a little bit. It might feel really nice to lift up onto the tips of your toes and drop your heels over to one side and drop your heels over to the other side. Good. Maybe you just want to find stillness, and that's awesome. It's something that I feel like we might not get enough of. Good, yeah, really let the head drop down. You might even give it a little gentle shake out so the back of the neck gets a chance to release. Good. And then from your downward facing dog, let's raise that right leg up and back behind. And as you exhale, step the right foot in between your hands at the top of the mat. I actually think we're gonna take a warrior one tonight. This is unplanned, but why not? Let's take a little warrior one for a moment. So that left heel spins down, feet on two separate tracks. At first, raise those arms up nice and strong, maybe even straightening them out just for a breath or two. But then this really slow and gentle softening, bringing those elbows down just a little bit at a time, dropping the hands down alongside you, and then reach back for your hands or maybe a strap behind you. Interlace the fingers or grab a strap, belt or scarf, and then we're gonna take humble warrior. Head to the inside of your right foot, your knuckles kind of high here. And if all of this is causing a lot of stress in the shoulders, just know that you can drop those hands down. We're not here to make ourselves miserable, right? We're here to be in our bodies. And yeah, part of that is experiencing some discomfort and being able to hang with it without like freaking out. But we all know our limit, right? So just be here for a moment or two, and then we'll set those hands down on the floor, all of us, and walk them around to the left. You're gonna straighten through both legs and come into a standing wide angle. Yeah, right on. And in your standing wide angle, think about turning your big toes in just a little bit. It doesn't have to be very much, but just so that you're getting a little bit of a stretch through the outer ankle here. Feel your inner arches lifting. Weight pretty even between the ball mound and the heel of the foot. Head nice and heavy. Finding stillness. Good. A deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Great. Yeah, let's take that right hand just underneath your face, maybe onto a block. And then the left hand can come to the low back as you turn your chest to the right, or maybe that left hand reaches all the way up towards the ceiling. And think about picking your right sitting bone up, just a tiny touch. Good, balancing through those hips. Great, set that left hand down. Let's walk both hands back around to the top of the mat, framing your right foot. And we're gonna step that left foot in just a bit here, maybe about halfway up the mat, so that your left heel can make contact with the floor with your left toes pointing forward, pyramid pose. And a nice fold over that right thigh. Good. Just notice how the legs are feeling today. How the feet feel when they're touching the floor. Take a quick peek at your toes. Might be nice to pick them up, spread them out, set them back down. Great. Good. Nice. All right, and then from here, keep your left hand down on the floor or a block to the inside of your right foot. Your right hand comes up to the hip or the low back or up to the ceiling. Parivrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle pose. Yeah, and in this one, imagine that there's just a straight line between the crown of the head and the tip of your tailbone. Feel your head sort of lift a little bit here. Yeah, awesome. Great, left heel steady into the ground, right big toe presses forward. Great, drop that right hand down. And then we're just gonna wiggle ourselves into lizard. So deeply bending that right knee. We're gonna slide the left toes back on the mat. Good, and drop that left knee down, and we're just gonna get close to the floor here. So the hands can be down on the floor. You might bend at the elbows, maybe the forearms lower down onto blocks, a bolster, a stack of pillows. If it feels right for you to drop the head down here, I'm gonna recommend that for a little bit. We do so much holding up our head. It's heavy. Good. Might even feel good to slide something block-like underneath your head for some support. Yeah, and that right knee doesn't have to be straight up. It could be out to the side. You could roll onto the edge of the outer edge of that right foot, maybe. Beautiful. Good, and in twisty fashion, if you are feeling like something twisty here, that left hand can stay on the floor and take your right hand to the inside of the right knee and turn your chest towards the right thigh. Good. Nice. Great, and I'm gonna offer up any old thing here on your way out of it. Eventually, we're gonna find a downward dog, but it might feel nice to hang out in child's pose for a bit, or even just to lie on your belly and feel like the contact of your body with the floor, coolness of your floor. Yeah, maybe you want to take some cats and cows. If you're like super craving something like a chaturanga, etc., you're welcome to throw that in here too. And just know that there's no wrong way to do this, right? Whatever you choose is fine. Good, another 3 breaths or so before we meet there. Good, and as you make your way back into downward facing dog, just thinking about letting the weight of the head be really heavy here to lengthen through the spine a touch. Okay, let's move slow and easy, reaching that left leg up towards the ceiling, lifting it high. Good, and then, yeah, go ahead and step that left foot in between the hands at the top of the mat or bring it forward. Send the right heel down and take your warrior 1. Okay, warrior 1. So, yeah, feet on 2 separate tracks. Your shoulders trying to move into alignment with each other. Your hips are going to be a little off, and that's great. That's how hips are. But feeling that general press forward through the right hip. Good. At first, the arms are really nice and long and maybe even straight, but eventually, this super slow motion, dropping of the elbows. Good. And then dropping of the whole arm, the fingertips reach down, and then turn the palms back towards each other, interlace the fingers at the low back. Humble warrior, head to the inside of that left foot, pressing the knuckles up towards the ceiling. Yeah, and this pose like is so deceiving. It you know, looks like it should be restful because our head's down, but our legs are so active here. Really press back into that right elbow. Good, forward into that left big toe. Yeah, another 2 deep breaths. And from here, take your hands down to the floor, walk your fingers around to the right, straightening through both of your legs, standing wide angle. Good, and you can stay still and steady in this standing wide angle fold, or you might decide to like deeply bend one knee and then deeply bend the other knee, finding a nice big opening through the inside lines of your legs with these deep knee bends. Good. Good, yeah. Just thinking about what is gonna suit you best today, right? Your yoga practice, like rituals and routines are wonderful and so helpful. But I think that there is this element of deep listening that I really want to instill in all of you, like this idea that whatever, you know, your body needs is gonna ask for, and it's okay to indulge yourself, right? If you don't do it, who's gonna do it? Good. Right, and then we're going to take our twist here. The twist with the, I think the right hand down, the left hand reaching up. That feels right. Yeah, and as you reach that left hand up, think about also lifting the right sitting bone up just a tiny touch. Good, balancing those hips. And notice your feet on the floor. Good, another breath. And set that right hand down. And we're going to walk both of your hands around to frame that left foot. Step the right foot up just about halfway. Let's take our pyramid pose here, Parsvottanasana. Yeah, your hands can be on some blocks. And if you have those blocks, cool. Maybe even walk the blocks out and away from you to create a little bit of traction through the shoulders. Yeah, but really the most important part of this is that steadiness and that firm grounding through the feet. And then allowing the chest to drop in towards that right thigh to wherever it's going to go. Yeah. Good. Breathe deeply here. And keeping your legs just as they are. Let's take the right hand down to the inside of the left foot, left hand up to the hip or the low back, or maybe even up towards the ceiling for, yeah, Parivrtta Trikonasana, revolved triangle pose. And thinking about broadening those collarbones. Good. And then that left hand's gonna drop down to the floor. Sliding that right foot back on the mat, deeply bend the left knee. We're gonna come into the lizard. And in the lizard, both of your hands are gonna be to the inside of the left foot. Good, you might keep the hands down or maybe you're coming down onto forearms. Maybe the head drops down here. Nice. Nice, everyone. Couple more breaths. Yeah, if you want to take your twist, that left hand can, the right hand can stay down. Yeah, the left hand can come to the inside of the right knee or on top of it. Left hand on the left knee. I'm so sorry. And maybe you're even reaching that left hand up. Yeah, choice is yours. Great. And eventually go ahead and just come on out of this thing into your favorite middle of the thing movement package. So maybe that's hands and knees for cats and cows. Maybe you don't need movement right now. Maybe you want to sit still and just feel the effects of the poses on that side of your body. Maybe you want to find your belly. Child's pose. Maybe you have like a ton of energy to burn and you want to hold a plank for 5 breaths or something, and that's great too. What does your body need? What does it want? How can you serve your own energy here? How can you honor it and build it? Good. Eventually we'll make our way back into a downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, let's raise the right leg up and back behind. Okay, hold it here for just a moment, 3-legged dog. Okay, we're gonna step that right foot in between the hands. And we're gonna make our way out into half moon pose, so a block out in front of you might be nice. Okay, it's your left leg lifting. Okay, both of your hands might be down on the floor here and you're lifting your left leg up and opening through the hip. Okay, another option is to take your left hand up to your left hip or up towards the ceiling. And we're just gonna move a little bit here from a half moon pose to a revolved half moon pose. So we're gonna take that left hand down and internally rotate your left thigh. And then we'll take the right hand either up to the low back or up towards the ceiling. Good. And then that right hand's gonna come back down to the block. And then the left hand is gonna lift up. And think about opening through that left hip again. Good. Yay. If you like this kind of movement, maybe just take a couple more. And if this is starting to feel a little bit like, nope, no thank you, feel free to just step that left foot down to the top of the mat, because that's where we're all going to meet eventually in a standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Good. Let's all meet there. And we'll soften the knees. Hey, let the head drop down. Maybe a little yogic hair pulling, a little tugging of the hair either on the top of your head, or recently I've really been enjoying tugging the hair at the base of my skull. And relieve some tension in that area where it builds up. You might breathe in through the nose and exhale and stick out your tongue. The jago. And we're going to take some time to come back to downward dog again, but remember that it doesn't have to be chaturanga. It can be if you want to. Maybe it's you coming to your belly for 5 breaths. Maybe it's you finding your child's pose. Great. Just taking a moment here. Sweet, and then that left leg will extend up and back from your downward facing dog. Hold it there for just a moment, nice and strong on 3 limbs, and then slowly, mindfully bring it on up to the top of the mat. We're gonna take our half moon, a revolved half moon situation. So blocks maybe under your hands. If you have a chair or something too, that can be a really nice way to just explore that. It's all about some range of motion in the hips. So at first, opening that right hip up over the left. Maybe that right hand comes to the hip or reaches up towards the ceiling. And then slowly taking that right hand back down and turning this into like a dynamic kind of movement. The right hand stays down, that thigh internally rotates, and then the left hand kind of reaches up or towards your lower back. Good, and then the left hand comes down. And the right hand reaches up. Just watching your body in motion here. And yeah, you will know, your hip will tell you that's enough. And once you have reached that point, standing forward, fold again. Good. Taking just another moment here in your standing forward fold. And this can be, once again, like grabbing hold of those big toes. Or you could consider wrapping your arms around your calves, or even stepping on your palms. Yeah. Ooh, oh yeah. Something else that might be nice is like a back of the thigh massage and a back of the knee massage. And dare I say like a butt massage for yourself. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've had a massage from somebody else. I've been doing a lot of the self-massage stuff and it's really helping. Good. Yeah, so just taking a moment to like really feel your own body, feel your own legs, your own lower extremities. Great, and then we're gonna widen the feet here to just about mat width. And sit the hips down in between the heels, taking your low squat, Malasana. Yeah, and your hands could come together here at the heart, lifting the heart up nice and high. Great. And then we're gonna take a seat. So I want to encourage you to maybe just try to fall on your butt here. If that's like not too scary. See how that goes. Yeah, maybe you roll back and sit back up. Awesome. We're gonna take some time with some seated forward folds tonight. I've really been digging these recently. They feel good in my back. If you have things to lean forward onto, right, I just recommend gathering up whatever you got. You can also be a total minimalist and use nothing. So really the choice is yours. But let's think about maybe starting off in a yin butterfly shape. So this is where your feet are a little bit further away from your pelvic floor. And this is a nice one to just fold forward into, especially if your hips are feeling kind of wacky. Maybe they're not super comfortable in these forward folds with the heels close to you. However, if you are a fan of your classic traditional Baddha Konasana, with your heels super close to your lower, pelvic floor, you can do that too. You're just taking time to fold in here. You need to let the head drop down. Finding some space through the muscles that surround your spine. These muscles that can get really kind of knotty. Good. As you breathe here, notice the movement of your body with the breath. Where does your breath go? And just as importantly, where doesn't your breath go? Just observing yourself here for a bit. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, let them close. And observe the darkness behind your closed eyelids. And observe the rhythm of your breathing. the steadiness of it, the depth of it. And why don't we take 5 more breaths here? Perfect. Good. And coming on up and out of this, you might take your hands back behind you and bring your knees to point up and windshield wiper your knees from side to side. If you like to take a reverse tabletop, yeah, your hands will be back behind you. Maybe your fingertips point towards your glutes and just, yeah, pick those hips up. And that can always be done with legs long too, if you feel like, going for it. Yeah, choice is yours. And eventually we'll all sit back down, sit up tall, and I'm thinking of either a wide angle through the legs with a forward fold, or one of these guys, your legs out long in front of you, Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. And just know that you can tuck blankets underneath your knees if things are feeling pretty extreme through the hamstrings here, through the hips. A little blanket action can go a long way in creating some sustainability in these seated forward folds. Good. And again, there's no right, there's no wrong. There's only what you've got going on today in your body. And just experiencing your breathing again. Noticing what you're feeling and where you are feeling it. Creating this kind of body fluency. Really, really getting to know your own physical form. Yeah, just 5 more breaths. Coming out of this, just roll out onto your back. And as you find your back, we all have our little ways that we like to kind of get ready for the final pose. Maybe you are ready. Maybe it's like Shavasana time right now. Or yeah, if you want to take a couple of little twists or a supported bridge, or yeah, something like a shoulder stand or a plow, if that's in your practice and you want to go there. Give yourself that. Nice. And finding Shavasana, finding your final pose, and letting yourself just be, right? No effort, no physical effort, I should say. Letting your body be nice and heavy and settled into the ground. The breath moving through you. And I just want to read you a little piece out of the Tao Te Ching this evening as we close up our practice. It's chapter 36. If you want to shrink something, first you must allow it to expand. If you want to get rid of something, first you must allow it to flourish. If you want to take something, you must first allow it to be given. This is called the subtle perception of the way things are. The soft overcomes the hard. The slow overcomes the fast. Let your workings remain a mystery. Just show people the results. Let your workings be a mystery. Another handful of breaths here. Full and easy. And do your best for these breaths to focus on your breath out. And maybe even let the breath out be a little bit longer than the breath in. And your breath out, nice and relaxed. Stopping at the bottom even for a moment or two in this space of emptiness. And then when you feel like you need to breathe in again, go ahead, breathe in. And then breathe out. Nice long exhale. Pause at the bottom. Big breath in. And last really long exhale here, all the way out. Pausing there at the bottom in that emptiness. Good. And then just let your breathing return to its normal way, its normal state, and allow the small joints to move first. Fingers and toes. Wrists and ankles. Yeah, and then elbows and knees, shoulders and hips. If you like to roll over to your side before sitting up, you can do that, or you can just sit right up too. And eventually, we'll all get there, and I think we will, we'll take Anjali Mudra, I think, to close this evening, which is a nice mudra that reminds us of these like opposing forces, right? To the masculine, the feminine, the light, the dark, the active, passive, kind of meeting here in the middle, in one not more important than the other. Let's lift our hearts up a little bit, broaden across those collarbones, sit up nice and tall. And as you exhale, drop your head down towards your hands and your heart, honoring your practice and honoring each other, practicing in community. It's really nice to see all your faces and your names if I can't see your faces. And yeah, it's It's Monday and we made it through. Yay. Woohoo! It happened. So thanks again for being here. You can unmute yourself if you want to talk or say hey. Oh, hey Madeline.
Hey, thank you. That was great.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been like really super craving these forward folds. Whenever it gets hot and like too sunny, I'm like, I need to like curl up, like go in my cave. So I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, sorry for no sun salutes, but oh well, what are we gonna do?
That's fine.
We do those all the rest of the year. Yeah,
Yeah, the sun saluting's happening.
right, right. We do that in all the other ways, so. Awesome. Well, yay. It was good to see you all. I'll see you so soon. Bye.